Minister's address to the UN General Assembly. We have with us Ambassador S.R. Tayal, former senior diplomat, joining us. Ambassador Tayal, thank you very much for being with us. Now, does Netanyahu's stance on Palestine clash with Trump's peace plan that he spoke about when he addressed the UN?
It certainly does. What is very clear is that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu does not at all believe in a two-state solution. Now, because that is the crux of the problem, and Gaza and whatever conflict is going on is a subset of that bigger problem. Now, President Trump is trying to focus on bringing this Gaza conflict to some kind of a ceasefire or close. And again, he has made some statement
Yes.
yesterday that some plan is being worked out, and the Prime Minister Netanyahu will be meeting President Trump on Monday in
Yes.
uh, in the White House. But to me, the chances of any kind of cessation of hostilities appear to be quite bleak
Okay.
because the entire mood in the Israeli cabinet is of a triumph.
True.
That this is the moment that Americans are solidly behind them. So to finish off Gaza and also try to annex West Bank, and
Right.
President Trump had to very clearly say that America will never allow annexation of West Bank, and that was after President Trump's meeting in New York with leaders of Muslim and Arab countries. So there is a lot of pressure on President Trump
Right.
from rest of the world, in fact, because on 13 September 2025, when there was a special discussion in United Nations on this issue of Palestine, 142 countries
Yes.
voted for a two-state solution, including India,
Right. Absolutely.
and 10
So,
opposed. So, but I don't see any very
okay.
early cessation of hostilities, unfortunately.
So, given the fact that so many countries have, supported the two-state solution and even recognized a Palestinian state, is Netanyahu's, description of his campaign as a war on terror actually justified, given, the kind of civilian toll in Gaza?
No, that is not justified because on whatever scale there cannot be collective punishment, and more than 60,000 Palestinians have died. Of course, the 7th October attack 2 years back was a very blatant and gruesome act of terrorism where 1,200 Israelis were killed. But there has to be some sense of proportion in to taking revenge for that attack. And in any case, the entire civilian population of Gaza was not responsible. But the way Prime Minister Netanyahu is going in that direction, he wants to finish off the possibility of a two-state solution. And that's why suddenly those European countries who are otherwise quite inert and not doing anything have decided to recognize Palestine, half a dozen of them, UK, France, Australia, Portugal, Canada, Belgium, etc., just to keep this decision of the United Nations of 1948 to have two states. That was the decision of the United Nations, which really led to the creation of Israel in 1948. And at the side by side, that resolution said that there will be a state of Palestine. So the whole world is committed to the two-state solution, which Israel, which is itself is a creation of that particular resolution,
Yes.
is now repudiating, is now not following. But as it has been said that till US is the only power that counts in this conflict.
Okay.
Europeans are irrelevant. They have no say, they have no power, they have no nothing. And of course, the global south has been saying very, very clearly about two-state solution, and there should not be so much of loss of life and material. But again, their voice is not very has any weight.
Fair
So
enough.
it is ultimately President Trump's decision what he wants to do, in this
Right,
conflict.
Ambassador Thayal, but if we look at, from the point of view of what the Palestinians claim to be doing, the Palestinian President Mohammed Abbas, he rejected Hamas as playing a role at all. Will this, sort of help the peace process, would you think? I mean, is that what something that, because Netanyahu doesn't accept that, but maybe the Americans would?
Most certainly, because you see, even if you look at the history of all this conflict, again and again, Palestine Liberation Organization, Palestine Authority, and the Yasser Arafat, they tried to come to some kind of an agreement. Camp David agreement, we all remember when the President Clinton and it elements like Hamas, which really prevented Yasser Arafat from coming to any kind of a workable solution. And one must always note that after every war, Palestinians have lost more territory, have lost more rights, have lost more people. So Hamas is a cancer. Hamas has to be removed if Palestine is to survive and Israel-Palestine relations become to some kind of an even keel, because should be peaceful. So yes,
Okay.
there are seeds of an agreement there that Hamas will be out of the picture, and the peaceful elements in the Palestine Authority and the erstwhile Palestine Liberation Organization, who have accepted Israel as a state.
Yes.
They are not saying to drive Israel in the sea, etc. And so yes, they are very good interlocutors. And
Well,
if United
actually,
States
part of Trump's plan is also to have Arab peacekeepers in the region and Hamas removed. So, I mean, what will you think about the Arabs playing a role in peacekeeping in that region?
the Arabs are also not at all with Hamas because of several reasons. And because Hamas is against monarchies and all kinds of things, there are very complex issues. But yes, Arab peacekeeping force is a workable idea. And on that basis, because Israel will also require security guarantees that Palestine Authority or Palestine state, when it emerges, should not pose a threat to Israel. So it will
Right.
need to be demilitarized. And for Palestine state's security, the Arab peacekeeping forces can provide that security. Yes, that is a workable solution.
Also, Ambassador Thayal, Netanyahu, of course, has an arrest warrant against him by the ICC, and he had to take a very long route to reach New York, 3 hours longer, avoiding all sorts of countries in Europe. What does this show, I mean, about the global standing about Israel currently?
See, the prevailing mood and the whole, if you say Zionism, etc., they go back 2000 years and they feel that it is a historical moment that to
Well,
claim
actually,
back.
did he do it just for for optics, or because I'm sure none of those countries would have stopped his plane from flying over. They had given overflight also. But the point is that he was afraid that his plane would be forced to land and he would be arrested.
Sometimes the courts issue some orders and the forces follow that. So I think he wanted to avoid any contingency of that kind, because sometimes the local courts issue a directive to the administration to take certain actions. And in the rule of law, the court's orders prevail. So I think he wanted to avoid anything of that kind. But Prime Minister Netanyahu is driven by this absolute conviction he has that he will not accept two-state solution, and this is the time, because he has total support in the White House
Right.
to make sure that Israel's land keeps on increasing, and he is going about it in a very single-minded manner.
Indeed. We leave it there. Thank you very much, Ambassador S.R. Tayal. Thank you for joining us and breaking that down for us.